Hey guys, Rose from Rebel Leader Academy here. I'm super excited to dive into the material today because it's one of my favorite parts of this whole training. I know last training it was a little dry, right? We were talking about robots, what are they? But it gave a bit of context to where we are. So that was kind of important for you to get through, just be like, "Wah, wah, wah. Okay, fine, whatever." But now, today, I'm going to be showing you the weird connection between where this is all going in terms of tech and work and the future, and where rebels in particular fit into that whole thing, and why we created this academy, and why rebels are really the ones who are going to help bring humanity into this new future in a way that is really positive and sustainable and abundant and truly, truly amazing. So let me pull up my slides here so we can actually dive into all of this. Again, if this is your first time tuning in, this is part 2 of our 4-part series called The Future of Work, exploring where all of this confluence between tech and culture and rebels is really coming together to push us into the future and what that's going to look like. A lot of people are worried about job loss. We talked about that last time. So today we're not so much talking about what jobs will be lost, but forgetting even about the notion of a job for a second, where are we actually going with all this? So here we are, part 2. Last week we talked about the threat. Today we are talking about the context. So the context is we're going to go way back into history, and I'm going to give you a super, super fast guide on how this whole concept of work developed. So that's what we're talking about today. And of course, this is how we teach here at the Academy. So last time we talked all on the physical level. We talked about literally what is happening, what jobs are coming, what is the tech that's kind of, mucking us up right now in terms of job losses or potentially job creation. So that's on that physical level. But we like to teach multidimensionally here. So we are talking today actually about the top. We're going right to the top, kind of that bigger consciousness, energetic level of where is this going? Where are we going with our whole job and career and idea of what we do in this world? So we're answering the questions, where did jobs come from? Now, a lot of people don't take a minute to step back. We just kind of live our life. We're born, we get indoctrinated into this system. We say from the time we're little, you got to go to school so that, you get a good job, yada, yada, yada. We hear that whole story. And most of us never really question, like, what is a job? Where in the world does that even come from? Why do we need one? Of course, we need it for money, right? That's our standard answer. But not getting into where money came from, I can tell you all about that later. Just the idea of a job, where did that come from? And then why are rebels poised to lead us into the future? Which is this very kind of strange thing for some people to hear, but really that's the truth. So let's dive into this because I'm really excited. So where did jobs come from? We're going to go way back, even before actually this like sexy caveman looking picture. Before that, if you think about us, what did we have to do? So we're born just like any other animal on the planet, and we have to do something to survive, right? So before we had kind of our little clans and, humanity started to become what it is, we were like any other animal, and we were more subsistence. So we would go, we would do our own thing, we would get the food we needed, we would take care of our shelter to the extent that we could as individuals and all of that. And we had little groups and pods. So that quickly moved into the first real differentiation between us as individuals. That was specialization. So we first specialized into these hunter-gatherer societies. So you were either going to be a hunter or you were going to be a gatherer, right? And that contributed to the good of the whole. So for the first time, we took a step towards this idea of individuation and specialization. So now we had these two groups. You were either hunter or you're a gatherer. Okay, cool. Then as we progressed, thousands of years, I'm skipping ahead way fast, we progressed into trades. So think about this as a continuum of specialization. We went from not specialized at all to being a hunter or gatherer to now this idea of, well, okay, now we have trades. So, maybe you over there, you do whatever, this kind of hunting, or you over there, you're going to make the clothes, and you over there, you know what, you're really good, you're going to make the houses, things like that. So we started to get this idea of trades, people of greater specialization. Along with that came, different levels of skill and education. So it's different if you're just going to be a hunter or gatherer versus you're going to, make the clothes. That's more knowledge needed, more skills needed, all that kind of stuff. So that was our next step, was becoming trades. And then from there, we really got specialized into what we see today. And that's the idea of a job, right? So now we have lots of education needed, usually to do our very specific thing. And in terms of money, the more specialized you are, it tends to be, the more money you make, right? I mean, that doesn't always happen. We know the realities of that is not usually sometimes what that is, but that's the idea. So the greater specialization, the greater education you need, and the more specific the thing is that you contribute to your society. All right, cool. Got all that. That's where the idea of like a job came from. So now we're born into our big group, right? Into our culture. And we say, hey, little person, what are you going to do for us, right? What of these specializations are you going to fill? Are you going to be a doctor? Are you going to be a lawyer? Are you going to be a manufacturer? What is it that you're actually going to do? Which is cool, kind of, but there's some issues with that. If you think about all of these specializations, think about them as little boxes, right? From the very beginning, you're either in the hunter box or you're in the gatherer box. And as we moved into trades, you're in the little, you make houses box, or you make clothes box, or you cook box, whatever that is. And then we get into today. Now today, it seems like we have a lot of boxes to choose from, right? You can be a specialist. Not only are you a doctor, but then you're a doctor of this one kind of part of the body, right? Or then you're a doctor of this one part of the body who does only this one specific thing. So we've really narrowed down these boxes. And by narrowing down the specializations, we've created like thousands, hundreds of thousands of boxes, probably millions of boxes that you can choose from. The idea of choice. Now, this is a really interesting one that comes in here. So do we have a choice? When we first started way back, we had no choice. We did everything, right? And then in hunter-gatherer, you probably didn't have a choice at all. Your society told you, are you a hunter or you're a gatherer? Same thing in the trades, right? You were kind of born into a trade. You apprenticed with somebody. That's what you were. And now we have this illusion kind of choice, in the sense that we're like, okay, you still have to pick a box, right? You still need to get a job, choose a career, do something like that. So we have this, like, all these little boxes out there that we have this illusion of choice for some of us. Some of us, we're still in the dynamic around the world where we don't have a choice at all. You're born and your parents tell you this is exactly what you're going to do. And a lot of us, even in the US, a lot of us are fighting that cultural kind of muck, right? That you're born, your parents say, you're going to be this, and they train you to be this. And then we grow up and we're like, I don't want to be that at all. And then we go through this whole, process, whether we're going to, abandon the tradition, abandon our parents and go against them, and, maybe end up losing our place in the family. All kinds of drama that we have to decide if we do actually want to even have the illusion of choice, because we still have to pick a box. So why this is really exciting. Let me go through this, actually. Let me just go through in sequence. I'm getting ahead of myself. So we went from doing everything to doing something, right? To doing this like specialization to the nth degree. But where's this going? Like one step more, right? What would real choice look like? What would the end of that spectrum of specialization look like? So it would look very different, and we're going to flip the whole dynamic on its head. So whereas all of these jobs and positions and necessities in society, they're like external to us, right? We're born and all of these jobs and things are out there and we have to pick which one we are going to like fit ourselves into, right? So we have to pick like, okay, which of these boxes maybe fits me best? And we're not even usually looking at the boxes of like, lawyer or contractor. We're not even looking at those boxes in terms of, do I really like this? Am I good at this? That's not even what we train for. It's more like, how much money can I make? Most of us chase the money. There's nothing wrong with that per se. But what it does is it leaves us really unfulfilled and unhappy at some point. At some point we wake up and we go, is this really it? Like, is this it? I just wake up and I use all of my life energy towards this thing that I don't even like doing? Okay. So given that, that's where we find ourselves now. But where we're going, if we follow this trajectory that's been building since the beginning of our time, if we follow, where is this going? It's actually going to a place where instead of the boxes externally telling us what to do, and us as an individual, remember, we're individuating as we go, we're specializing. So for us as an individual, instead of having to take that individuality and stick it in a box, we are moving into a paradigm where we're going to be born. And then, based on who we actually are, we're going to tell the world what we're going to do. And that's a whole like different paradigm that we're not used to at all. So instead of having all of these little career boxes outside of us, so society says, hey, we have all these functions that need to be done. Which one are you going to do? And then us trying to fit our individuality into one of those boxes, we're actually going to be born and we're going to be asked, what are you here to do? Not here are these external things that you can do that we need, but what are you here to do? What are your talents, your gifts, your brilliance, your passions, your values? How do all of these things come together to offer the world something as unique as you are, as specialized as you are? Because every one of us is unique, and we're unique to the extent of that continuum. So we are unique to the extent of that specialization. So we go from on this whole continuum of doing everything for ourselves, right, to survive. So we have to do everything. We have to hunt. We have to gather. We have to make our house. We have to do everything because we're not in a society. To being in a society that now we can start to individuate. And we went into the hunter box or the gatherer box. And then we moved along the continuum a little bit and we went to trades. Again, there's no real choice involved. You were told externally from your society what you were going to be doing. So then we move into these trades and you're told, okay, great. Now you're going to have to learn these specific set of skills because we need you to do this for the society. All right, cool, still no choice. Then we moved into the greater degree of specialization, which is even more. That's where we find ourselves today. So every job is this idea of a greater specialization, right? So we're still told from the external world, hey, you're going to be doing this for us. But now we have a bit more of an illusion of choice. We have a bit more of like, okay, we're not going to specifically tell you which box you have to fall into, but here are the choices. So you pick the box that you want, right? Even though we make bad choices around that. To the next leap, and the next leap is huge because that's all about us telling the world who we're going to be and what we're going to do. And that is the last degree of specialization because it's literally an N of one. It's literally just one. There's no one else in the world who could specialize the way you can. So that's what it means from going from doing everything to doing the one thing. And that's what it means from going from a dynamic where you have no choice, the world's telling you what to do, you have no choice. Even picking your box, there's still external boxes you have to choose from. It's not really who you are. To having limitless choice, because we've individuated to the extent of one, just you. Even if we go to 15 billion people on the planet, it's still going to be just you, because we're individuating to that point. So we're going from always being told what to do. And by the way, everything on this planet, everything is dictated by their external circumstances. So this is not just like one more whoop on the whole evolution of this. This is truly something unique. This is flipping the dynamic from having no choice to finally having choice, real choice. Because real choice is internal. And it says, what do I actually want to do? What do I actually want to contribute? Who do I actually want to be in this world? And there's no box to choose from. And for a lot of people, having no box, no preset, no instructions is incredibly daunting and scary. And when we look at what we were talking about last time around all of the job loss and, people freaking out because they don't have a box anymore. Like if their box was being a truck driver, and then technology comes along and takes away that box because we don't need a human anymore to do that box, that truck driver, that human, freaks out because they've never actually had to make a choice. That's the flip in the dynamic. They have never had to truly think like, wait a second, if the box isn't telling me what to do, and I don't have just this thing to choose from, what am I going to do? Who am I? And that becomes the question, right? Who am I? That's the foundation that we never get asked. In all of our training is to pick a box. Our training is do math, do science, do language, do something that's going to fill one of those boxes. We never ask, who are you, to children, and therefore we never ask, who am I, to ourselves. Like, who am I? What do I want? What actually are my values? What do I want to contribute? And when I talk to people, when I have these one-on-ones with people that have this rebellious nature to them, and I'm going to get to that in 1 second. But when I talk to people, they usually find me at a point where they are longing to have that choice, and it's coming out as incredible frustration, anger, depression, feeling like their life is meaningless. Like that's the internal emotional turning point when people are feeling this shift and going, I don't want to do it anymore. Like I know there's more in me. There's something I'm meant to do, to be, to contribute to the world, and I'm not doing it. And I don't even know where to start. Of course you don't know where to start. You wouldn't know where to start because nobody's ever asked you these questions. So that moving to limitless choice, although it's an amazing opportunity for our species, although that is actually where we're going, like we are being pushed in that direction. We are being pushed to ask ourselves these questions. Most of us were not equipped with the tools to handle limitless choice. Even when you look at like a silly little experiment that they do in marketing, where it's a pretty famous experiment now in marketing circles because they gave people at a grocery store something like, I don't even know, I'm going to get the numbers wrong, like 15 choices of this jelly to pick from, right? All kinds of jelly. They're like, pick your favorite. We give you 15 choices, 15 flavors. They did that, 15 flavors, and then they did another one where they only gave people 3. Pick from 3. Their sales, when they said pick from 3, skyrocketed because it's easy. We can handle that. People are like, okay, cool, I can pick from 3. Like I can evaluate, I can do the pros and cons of 3 things, and I can pick my favorite one. But 15 Trying to do the pros and cons in your head and in your body of 15 choices of jelly, that was just, it was too much. People didn't know how to narrow it down. They didn't have good criteria of like, well, I don't even know what kind of jelly I like to that extent. So again, think about this level of specialization. It becomes a problem for us because we're not actually set up and geared internally and mentally to have to do this level of processing, this level of individuating, this level of specialization. But that's where we're going. That's where our next evolution is headed. So if we can get on the front of that whole train, if we can get ahead of the curve as individuals, the world is literally ours. You can do anything. You have limitless possibilities for your life if you can start thinking of that specialization. If you can start individuating yourself consciously, because we're all individuals, we just don't consciously go around thinking about it. My values are going to be different from yours. My strengths are going to be different from yours. But if we don't have a way to really clarify these things, then they're just like this amorphous muck, right? We're like, well, of course I have values. I don't know what they are, but I have them. They're there, but I can't articulate them. And it's in the articulation of this process of individuating that is the gold. That is the thing that's going to get us to the next level, both in our own personal life. So when we talk about, this whole series began with, what are you going to do so that robots can't steal your job? Well, this is it. A robot's never going to be able to individuate to the level of your humanity. They're never, ever, ever going to be able to take the job that you individually create from who you are. You don't even have to go out and learn anything. It's who you are. It's what you're designed to contribute to society naturally. And a robot, there's no technology that's coming that can take that away. And if you start focusing on that, instead of looking outside of yourself to all of these boxes and all of these jobs, if you instead turn inward and say, hang on, I'm going to just forget all about the boxes. In fact, all the boxes can go away. All the jobs can disappear. I still have something of value to contribute to society. And that leads to making money. And that's a whole process that I'm going to take you through in the academy. But just starting off, if you can make that mental flip from, I have to choose an external box, and if all the boxes go away, I'm screwed, to, I have to create and tell the world what I'm here to do. Very different. That cannot be taken away from you. Huge, huge mind shift, huge perspective shift. And it's not just a perspective shift. You're just getting in alignment with where this entire human trend is going from the beginning. Greater specialization. What is the next level of more and more specificity? And that is you. That's finding out who you are. That's it. That's as far as we can go with specificity. And that's where we're going. And that's where we end up with limitless choice. So the more we can handle this idea of our possibilities are endless and be okay with that and actually use that to our advantage, the better you're going to be as we continue transitioning with technology. So now we get to my favorite, is that why in all of this transition, all of this moving from no choice to limitless choice, from having to do everything for yourself to just doing one very specific thing for society. Why are rebels and that rebel energy and rebel archetype poised to really be the ones to lead us into the future? So if you think about it, what do we do as rebels? We buck the system all the time. What do we always say? Don't put me in a box. We say we do our own thing. We march to our own drummer, right? That's what we do as rebels. So who better to lead humanity into the future than someone who naturally says, yeah, don't put me in a box. I don't want to be in a box. I don't want to be part of this system. I don't want a job. I don't want you telling me that I'm going to be a doctor, a lawyer, a pancake maker, whatever it is. Like, no, I'm going to tell you who I am. I'm going to tell you who I'm going to be. Hello, guys. That's who we need. It's the rebels, the ones that are already comfortable with individuating to that level, already comfortable with nonconformity, of going, nope, not going to do it. I'm going to be over here doing my own thing. That's exactly where we're going as a species, like on target where we're going. So if you, as a rebel, are feeling kind of in the muck, right, lost, it's because you have taken on all of the crap of the culture of society that's telling you, you got to find a job, you got to do this, you got to do that. And you're not actually being true to your own nature. If you could just sink in to that nonconformity, sink into that uniqueness, you are going to be the leader for other people who really, that's not their nature. Their nature is to conform. We have tons of people in this world where, and that's beautiful, by the way. One's not better than the other. People that naturally conform, they're like the glue. They help, right? They help build the systems. They help keep the systems running. Like they're an integral part of keeping us as a species going. But it's the rebels that push us forward, especially now, especially in this transition. It's going to be that rebel energy, that rebel archetype that moves the rest of humanity into being okay with limitless choice, into truly being okay with being themselves as unique individuals. That doesn't come naturally to everybody. So in this academy, the more people that we can get in here with that rebel archetype naturally and help refine you and help really bring more and more and more of that archetype out, the more successful humanity at large is going to be in this transition. The more people are going to be running around going, you know, robots are stealing my jobs, or this particular thing is happening, I don't know how to make this transition. We're going to be the ones who kind of like hold them and be like, it's okay. It's really okay. It's going to be fine. You just need to do these things. You need to learn how to individuate. You need to learn who you actually are. You need to just let go of everything that you've learned and sink into that. And now let's move forward. Because no robot can ever, ever, ever steal who you are. And who you are is what you're meant to be doing. Here, it comes out of that. Your career, your business. So if you're an entrepreneur, the businesses you choose to join, all of that comes out of who you are. So what you do is just an extension of that. And who you are is not going to be stolen by a robot. Even if they're more, quote, intelligent, they can process faster, all of these things, they're stronger, you know, they've got exoskeletons, whatever the case, right? That's never going to be who you are. And so therefore, you're never actually going to be out of a job, out of a mission, if you really sink into that knowledge. And that brings us to, I think I did just recap for you guys. So, you know, where did jobs come from, right? Jobs came from the idea of specializing. Jobs came from there's more and more humans. So we have the ability to say, okay, you over there, you know what? You're going to do this very specific thing for society. We don't need you to be in one of these huge, huge groups. Like you're not going to be a hunter or a gatherer. Nope. Now you're going to be a tradesperson. And then from a tradesperson, you're going to be this particular kind of thing. So that's where we even have this idea of a job. And then why are rebels poised? Well, rebels are poised to lead because we are already on the cutting edge of being okay with non-conforming, with doing our own thing, with, you know, being who we are, despite all of the crap that we get for it usually, despite all of the rejection, despite all of it. We still, when we sink into our rebel nature, stay true to who we are, to our values, and we do what we believe is right. And an offshoot of that is going to be what we do in this world. And that's why rebels are that energy, that rebel energy is poised to take humanity into this next evolution, into being specialized as one, that nobody can do what you do because you are that specialized. So that brings us to how the hell do you specialize? It's really about mission, right? So who you are gives rise to your values, your strengths, your experiences. All of those things combine to make you who you are. And then that translates to what do you do, right? What do you do in this world? It's who you are. Extension is what do you do? What do you do is your mission. That's what we at the Academy, we talk all the time, mission, mission, mission. I'm obsessed with mission because when you discover your mission, that is your specialty. That is your one. Nothing else can take that from you. Your mission can be expressed in limitless ways. So when we talk about having limitless opportunities, limitless positions, limitless choices, this is what we're talking about. It all comes down to knowing your mission. And people think like knowing your mission is this like very strange, ethereal process. And it's really not. It's not at all. It's a very concrete step-by-step. Here's what you do to discover your damn mission. It's not like something that you can't do. It's very tangible, very doable. And what I like to start with, because again, the idea of a mission can be very, I don't know, like I said, amorphous. And what I like to do is the first step is grounded into this idea of an emotional signature. So an emotional signature is when people interact with you, what they feel when they walk away. You know how if you think about your best friend, think about somebody you dislike, think about a teacher you had. They all, when you think about them, there's a feeling associated with those people. That's their emotional signature for you. Those people make you tend to feel that way. It's like an energy kind of exchange. It's an energy thing. And it doesn't have to be somebody that you know one-on-one. It could be people, you know, celebrities that you watch. They also have an energetic signature, an emotional signature that they give. So what's yours, right? That kind of, I like to start there. Like, what would be your emotional signature? Because it's important to know. And your emotional signature is something that doesn't matter what job you're doing. Doesn't matter whether you are having a party and you're talking to your friend, or you are talking to a coworker or a boss. It doesn't matter who you're interacting with. Your emotional signature doesn't change. It doesn't even matter what you're doing. So I like to give an example, let's say maybe one that everybody would know, right? Let's say you were talking to a Gandhi or something. And let's say we could agree that his emotional signature was peace, right? That's what he's here. He talked all about peace. So it didn't matter whether he was acting as a lawyer, which he was. It didn't matter if he was doing his lawyer work. It would still give this emotional signature of peace. That would still be kind of his baseline. In his work, what is he trying to do? He's trying to find peaceful resolutions, right? As a lawyer. What's he trying to do as a political figure? He is trying to teach peace and nonviolence. If he were working at a dog kennel, right? What would he be doing? He would probably be training people on how to peacefully interact with the dogs. Like, because that's who he was, and that doesn't change. It doesn't shift from context to context. That's the stability. So for you, what is your emotional signature? Well, it's who you are when you interact all the time. But sometimes that's hard to figure out on our own. We don't sit around going, well, I don't know how I make people feel all the time when they interact with me. So I have a process. It's very quick, and I want to do it as a workshop for you guys. And I'll do it next week in our Rebel Leader group. So it'll be the emotional signature workshop, and we'll do it together. It's super fun, very quick, and might take maybe 30 minutes to get through the whole process, maybe a little bit longer if you really want to process through it later on. So I'm going to be doing that in the group, and you can join our Rebel Leaders group. It's totally free, but it is private, so we have a little bit more interaction in there. By going to the page and just clicking, I think it's join group or something on the page. I'll also put the link here in the description. So you can join me for that. It's going to be really fun. And usually when people finally figure out that emotional signature, it's this big aha moment. I absolutely love doing this with people because it tends to be this like relief. Like, oh yeah, oh my gosh, that is what I do. Like that's totally what I do all the time. So that's really exciting and I love running it. So we're going to be doing that. So I encourage you to join the group. Next Monday, again, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to be doing part 3, where we're really diving into a little bit more of the future and talking a little bit more about this and where it's going and where we can take that. So have a great weekend, and I will see you hopefully in the group where, oh, and I forgot to say this last time, all these slides, by the way, are in the group too. So, you know, if you want to download them and study them a little bit or just have them for whatever, the slides are also going to be in our Rebel Leaders group. So I will see you guys there. Thank you so much. Mwah.